Functional fitness, train for real life. Sharon, Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 171 of our Supersize You Annual Challenge. All this month, we're focusing on the physical area and aspect of our life, which means mostly our bodies. So I'm focusing on different type things in different ways and different tools and different ideas to make sure that you are moving in real life, sleeping, eating the things that are good for you, supplementing where you need to supplement, taking care of yourself in all the ways that are important to reduce stress and to make sure that we're living our best life. Am I living my best life every day? No. Do I still slip off the wagon? Absolutely, positively. Just ask my family. But I'm generally moving toward continuous improvement, being a better version of myself physically every single day. Do I have some areas I need to work on? Yep, we talked about core yesterday, and I definitely need to do some things that enhance my core. Pretty good with cardio, not running, only walking, but walking for longer distances, upstairs, everything like that. So what is our topic about today? I'm going to share a tool today, one of my favorite tools, because it keeps coming up, and it came up again yesterday in a conversation. And so that's a sign to me that it's important to share it. And for some reason this month, I'm in a coaching program, so I'm really, really tied up and busy, but that's no excuse for not throwing in the tools and the tactics that I want to make sure get included in the physical area and aspects of our life. I think I get a little lackadaisical in this area because it is so easy to see if it's working or not. All we have to do is look in the mirror, right? Or try to touch our toes, or try to do some squats. And we know if we need to change something or not. I know personally, I need to change some things. I've slowed down this last winter for no real reason or excuse. I mean, I could make excuses, but they're not really valid. They're just excuses. So we want to train for our life, train for our real life. We want to be able to function on a physical level in a way that supports whatever it is that we want to do, be, and have, right? So today, functional fitness type exercises. I'll talk about and share a couple of those. What they are is they mimic real life movements. They strengthen the things that we want that allow us to get the activities and do what we want. Does that make sense? So if I want to be able to, and I'm going to use this example because I can't remember his name, but he is a contact on LinkedIn, and I don't know how active he is there anymore. I'll have to go look him up again today. But he had a challenge where, and he did it every single day. You have to be able to stand up off the ground, sitting on the ground, without using your hands or anything else to get up. Now, I will tell you, that is a challenge I did not master while I was going through and listening to his content. But now I'm re-energized to do it again because it is such a functional, important thing to be able to do. Got to keep the throat clear. So functional exercises are things like that. Exercises that enhance our ability to maintain energy, posture, confidence, flexibility throughout our actual living experiences, right? I have found that over the last 6 months, I have become much more sedentary, meaning I sit on my derriere a lot more than I have the previous 6 years. And I want to change that. I think I might need to look into a walking desk. Actually, I will exercise, I will walk and read things on my exercise bike blown up on the big screen. That is functional because I'm strengthening my body, I'm getting some cardio, I'm breathing, and I'm playing into my strengths and weaknesses, which is the tool we're going to talk about, and minimizing my weaknesses and enhancing my strengths. So we don't just want to look good, right, when we're doing these things. The reason we want to pay attention to our physical bodies isn't just to look good, although that is a fun added bonus. It is to make sure that we are actually moving well throughout our life, right? So we're not just craggling along and grumping and groaning and being all blah because our life is painful, right? I don't know about you, but I've had my share of pain throughout my lifetime, and now I choose not to participate. Got a little creak in my knee. I used to call that pain. Now it's just a little creak in my knee, and it only pops up once in a while, usually when it's raining or storming, which it was the last few days, or if I've tweaked it, and I tweaked it this last week in the kitchen talking to my daughter. So things like that can happen, but for the most part, I'm getting more and more functional in my movement and my activities, and I'm getting more intentional in the things that I choose to do and spend my time on. Functional movements include things like doing squats, deadlifts, lifting weights and things, lunges, push-ups. Kind of hard about push-ups, but I'm getting better at push-ups. I would add planks, even though we use those for core strength. I still think you can add one of these. You don't need to add all of them, but you could add just one functional exercise. That leaning against the wall thing, I can't remember what it's called, but that is a way to increase your strength. Lifting things, and I think that's why the deadlifts are on here, is because we want to be able to lift things. I don't know about you, but I want to always be able to lift my granddaughters. A couple of years ago, I had an eye problem. Somehow I got an eye bleed inside my eye, my good eye that I could see out of it, and it clouded everything. And so for a couple of months, I wasn't allowed to lift anything. I had to do all kinds of drops and things, just like when I was younger. But I wasn't allowed to lift my granddaughters. That was terrible. I got to hug them and stuff, and they could climb up on me, but I couldn't pick them up for months, a couple of months. And so that was not functional. I mean, I made it work. We always figure it out, right? We always make it work, but it wasn't particularly functional. So what are we going to do today? I challenge you to pick a functional exercise and do it today. You could do a whole circuit if you're ambitious. I'm not sure I'm going to even commit to doing this today. 10 squats, 3 rounds each. So that would be a total of 30 squats, 10 push-ups, 10 bent over. You just bend over and try to touch your toes. That one's for flexibility. And I like ones that we can use that hit us in a couple of areas. Those are my favorite exercises because I'm all about continuous improvement, but being more efficient and effective in the things that I choose to participate in and do. Form matters. We want to use good form when we're training in these different movements because they'll help us to mimic that in real life. If I sit up straight and have good posture, which we may have talked about yesterday if you watch, that is training myself to make that a habit. So I don't have to catch myself every hour and say, oh, are you slouching? Yesterday I caught myself like this again. I was on, I think, a 6-hour phone call, and that was after getting my nails done. So I'd been sitting a lot, and I just, instead of sitting up straight and paying attention, which I do a lot, I was drifting off to the corner of my chair, which meant my eyes were not off too. Don't tell anybody, although no, I didn't have my camera on, so I'm good. So what's the tool we're going to share today? So pick one exercise you're going to do, one functional exercise, share it in the comments below what you did and that you're done. That's all you have to do. And you're just done with what you committed to yourself that you're going to do. You don't have to do 3 rounds of 10 of anything, especially if you're like me and you haven't been doing it. Maybe we start out with 10 of each of those exercises. I'll make a little list and I'll decide what I am and am not going to commit to doing. All right, the tool I want to talk about today quickly, and I'm going to go through it super quickly and briefly. If you would like a step-by-step how to actually do this, put SWOT, S-W-O-T, in the comments below, and I will add a document. I'm sure I've got one in my millions and millions. I'm sure I have over 1 million documents in my computer. I'm sure I've got one in my computer and I can always find one or I can tweak one. Or, this is coming out of my mouth, I could ask AI to give me a worksheet. But if you've never heard of a SWOT analysis, which I think they're even teaching grade school kids this strategy nowadays. So I'd be surprised if you maybe haven't heard of it, but don't feel bad if you haven't. I had to ask online what AF means. So that tells you we just all are exposed to different things. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities. I'm going to hold this up here. Opportunities and threats. And so we're going to do this with respect to our physical health and well-being today. Not everything else, not all of us, just with respect to our physical health and well-being. Strengths. What are some of your strengths? If you exercise every day, that is definitely a strength. If you never exercise, well, that's an opportunity and a threat and probably a weakness. But we want to just list out, and I usually just get out a piece of paper or a notebook. I put an S on one page, a W on another, an O and a T. And then as I think of things throughout the day, I add them to the list. Again, keep it narrow just to our physical health and well-being. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities? What are your threats? Strengths for me are I've overcome death. I've overcome being bedridden for a couple of years in my 20s. I've overcome being bedridden for 3 weeks in my, not going to say how old, but it was in 20, so most of you know how old I am. It was in 2018. I had a weird of something right after I finished ClickFunnels training and went out to Colorado to visit my daughter and son-in-law. And I mean, literally was crying buckets on the airplane because it hurt so bad just to sit or move or do anything. It was really weird. I went to the doctor. They gave me steroids, which made me worse. I stopped taking the steroids. I went for a search throughout my network of amazing human beings. And of course, one of them, nurse practitioner, got back to me and said, hey, I don't know what's going on with you, but try this. And I did it and it worked. I'm not going to go into it, but that's a good story for another day. All right, so what are we going to do? We're going to do a SWOT analysis on ourselves. We are going to do some functional fitness activity today, and we're going to share it in the comments below. Any questions about this? If I can help you in any way, all you have to do is ask. Just put help Sharon in the comments below, or just help, and I will reach out and we'll figure out what's going on with you. Now, I would prefer you reach out to me versus me having to follow back up and reach out to you. You can find me everywhere. You can direct message me, and we will make sure that you are not stuck on anything. All right, go out and make it an amazing day, and I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.